Hey guys, welcome to Code with Stein. In this video I'm going to talk and teach you a little bit about technical SEO with Django. So I'm going to talk about the correct use of H1, H2, etc. How to set alt tags for images, how to use the different meta tags and how to make these dynamic, how to use good image names, how many words per page and similar, how to set up a robots file, and at the end I'm going to set up a sitemap for the page as well. So I'm going to begin with setting up the environment for this. So I've created a new folder called Hi Django, which will be the name of this project. In here I want to create a virtual environment where I can install Django and other dependencies. So to create this I just say python 3-m env, v, and then the name, which can just be env. And when this is created, we can activate it by saying source env bin activate. So you can see here that I get the name from the folder there at the beginning, and every time I now run the command pip to install a Python package, it will only be installed in this environment. So if I want to deactivate this, I can just say deactivate. Okay, let's activate it again by saying this command. Nice. So then I can install Django by saying pip install Django. This will then install the newest stable version of Django, which currently is 4.2.7. Don't worry if you have a slightly older or newer version. As long as you have version 4 or maybe even 3, everything here should work. So now that we have done this, we can create the Django project as well by saying django-admin start project hi Django. So let's go into this, and I can see here the manage.py file and then a folder with even more files. So if you want to learn the basics of Django, you can search on my channel for other videos where I will explain what all of these does. So if I now go to VS Code, I have opened up the project here. As you can see here, I have the same files here as I have here. Great. So I'm going to begin by just creating a core app where I want to have the front page and an about page. So let's create the app by saying python manage.py start app core. And I can also just create one more, so it's done, called blog. Great. So now we have these two, but Django doesn't know that this exists, so let's add them to the settings.py file. So in here, inside the install apps, we can add blog and core, like that. So now Django knows that these exist and that we're going to use them in the project. So let's begin by creating a very basic front page. So inside the core, let's create a new folder called templates, where all of the templates will be. And then in there, core. Then we can create the base.html file, which will include the top where the meta tags and title will be, also the menu and similar. So I'm going to use Tailwind for this. So if I just Google Tailwind CSS, go into tailwindcss.com, get started, and I'm just going to use the place CDN since this is just a demo. So just copy this so that we have a very simple starter package. Like that. Okay, so now we have the base template. Let's also create one more called index.html, which will be for the front page. And this should extend this base template. Base.html. Sorry, I need to say core/base.html. Now we can save this, and then I need to set up the view. So def index request return render loop render request, and then a reference to this index file. So core/index.html. And I don't need to specify this folder because Django will automatically look for a look for a folder called templates inside each of these apps. So we can save this now, and then to keep things as clean as possible, I want to have a separate URLs file here. So everything is not in the main URLs file. So first I can import the path function from Django. From django.urls import path. And then I want to import the views from this file. So from .import views. And I want to set up something called the app name. And this can be core. So this is just name spacing, so it's easier to reference views inside a specific app. And then the URL patterns, which is just a very simple Python list, path. And when the path is empty, I want to use the views.index view. And you can set the name to index and save. So the last thing we need to do now before we test this is to go to this urls.py here inside the Hi Django folder and include it here. So here we just say path, and when the URL is empty, I want to say include core.urls. So I get a warning here because include is not defined. We can import it together with path here. So include, and then this is gone. So if the path is empty, you will go into one of these URLs. If it's empty, if it's admin, it goes in here. If it's empty, it will go into this file and check these before it continues down the list if there are more. So now I think it should be ready to test. So Python mentioned.py run server. Yes, you can see that I get a migration warning here. It's just because I haven't run this command yet, but I will do it soon. So then I can just click this and it will be open in browser. And as you can see here, the styling from Tailwind is working. Nice. So then I can just close this for now. I can close this, and then I can set up some more things inside the base.html. So at the top here, I just want a very quick navigation bar, nav class. We can have some spacing inside here, 4 and px6, so we have space above and below, and on the left and the right side. We can also set the background color for this, for example purple 800. And we can set the text to be white if there are any text. And then on the left side of the screen, I just want the name of my blog, which here can just be a link, href / or we can reference the URL correctly by saying URL and then the name core:index. So then this is the app name and this is the path name. To set the class for this, text bold, I think it's font bold and text 2XL. And then Hi Django. Let's save and see if it works. Yes, so here you can see we have the purple menu and then a link to the front page. Nice. On the right side here, I just want I want the link to the blog page, but also the about page. Maybe just the about page. So let's create that one as well. href. We don't have this page yet, so we can just go to /class. Maybe don't even need a class for this. About. So let's see what this looks like. You can see here it's over here now. I want to move it here. So I just need to add some flex classes here. Flex items center so that they are on the same line. And then justify between to get some space between them. Great. So now that we have this, we can proceed to a very simple front page. So then I want a very simple hero at the top here. So we can add a section. And then in here I want the H1. This should be the name of the page we are on now. So for example, Hi Django, and maybe a slogan like learn about Django. So this will now be the name of the page we are on, and it's very easy to understand what it does. Let's move it to the center, make it a little bit bigger and similar. So class text 4XL, and we can add something to here as well. If it's a text center, so it's centered on the screen, and text white, and we can set the background as well. So BG purple 600, like that. Okay, it doesn't look very good, but that's also not the point of this tutorial, but we need some space above and below. So PY 200 pixels. I think this will work. Yes, great. And then we should have a little line below here as well. So we can set H2 class text XL, and then on this page you can learn everything you need to know about Django. Like that. Okay, so now we have the name of the page, but also a little slogan or a little bit of introduction text as well. So now I just want some space between these two. To edit on this one, and B-10. Like that. Okay, so then we have this one, and as you can see here, we have the H1, which is the most important title of this specific page. The about page will have about as the most important. And then this, you can argue that this is not a headline and maybe it should be a paragraph. So it's a little bit up to you what you want to do here. I think that this is a headline, so that's why I added this as H2, because this is very important as well to tell the search engine what is. By the way, if you want to learn even more Django or Vue from me, you should check out my website codewithstein.com. The site has many premium courses and a lot of awesome blog posts. And for as little as $20 per month, you will get access to all of my content, and you will be able to track your progress, you can talk to me and similar. So go to codewithstein.com after the video and sign up. And then below here, I want a simple blog listing. So then we can add a new section, set the class, and then here I want PY 6. We don't need as much space as we have here. PX 6, just like up in the menu, and here the background can just be white. And then we can have a list of blog posts. So if I just create a new div, class flex, now we can use grid here, and grid calls 3, so that we have 3 blog posts next to each other. Set the gap to be 4, so there are some space between the posts. And then for each of the posts I want to have one more HTML tag. Here we can use article. I think that is the most correct one. Class BG white, and I want the corners to be rounded on these ones. PY6 and PX6, or I can just say P-6. And then in here I want to have an image at the top here, so I can go and on unsplash.com and find one. So let's just take this one, very pretty mountains, copy. Actually I can save the image, and splash like that, save. Okay, it's a weird format. Let's just export this to a JPEG. So export JPEG. Okay, yes, that's okay. That was now in the documents folder. So if I now move this into Hi Django, create a new folder called Media and Images and paste it there for now. Okay, so src /media/images/unsplash.jpg. So I will come back to more of this later. I can also add a figure here, just so that HTML is even more correct. And then I want a div here for the title of the blog post and the intro and the read more button. So H3, this is not as important as this one, that's why I use H3. Close text XL and font bold. Blog post 1 P, and then just add some lorem ipsum blah 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 random text here, and at the bottom a href. We don't have this yet, so read more. So let's save this now, see what it looks like. If I just go back here, you can see that the image is not working, but we have the title, the intro, and the read more button or a link. So you can make this purple, text purple 800. This can be a little bit grayish, so text gray 700. Maybe even a little bit brighter, 500. Yes, and I want some space there and there, so I can add that on this one, my4. And I also want some space between this content and the image itself. I can add that to this one, MB4. Okay, so you see here that the article had BG white, but you can't see that. So if I set it very light gray color here, then you can see this a little bit better. Nice. Okay, so then I just want to make the images work, and to do this I need to go into settings and set the media URL, media, and then media root base there /media. So then this is the project folder, and then Django just adds media at the end there. So if I refresh now, it will not work because I need to add this to the URLs as well, and I always forget the syntax for this. So let me just go into one of my older projects, for example the Sol Gadgets, into Sol Gadgets and the main URLs file. So then you can see here at the end here that we are using a static function to include the URL and the root folder. So then this will work locally at least. And then you just need to include this here from django.conf and also from django.conf import settings. So now all of this is warnings is gone, so we can go back and try again. And now we have the image, the title, the intro, and the read more button. So let me just make a duplicate of the article 5. So then you can see here that we have these next to each other, and the grid function from Tailwind. Make sure that everything here is okay. So now that we have talked a little bit about H1 meaning, for example, this is very important, also important, not as important as the page title because we are not on this page now, for example. But when we go into the detail page of a blog post, we want to use H1 on this one. I will come back to that. Anyways, I want to move a little bit of this code into the index.html file. So let me copy this section and this section right out of there, and then in here we can say block content, because we want to put everything inside one block like that. So if I save now, save this, it will not work anymore because we don't have this block on the base file. So let's add that here as well. Save, refresh, and now it's back as it was. Nice. Okay, so let's build the about page so we can talk a little bit more about the h1 tags. So we can begin with the view. So we have it, def about request, return render request, and then core/about.html, save, and we can add this to this URLs file inside the core app. And when the path is about, now we want to use the views.about, set the name to be about as well. So up in the menu we can now fix this URL core:about and save. So if I now click this one, I get the template does not exist error. So let's fix that. About.html. This should also extend the core/base.html file. Set the block content. Just add some random things there so we can test. Save and refresh. If I click again now, you can see here that it is working. Perfect. So let's set up a little bit on this page. So if I copy this section here, not the hero, but this one, and then I can say h1 class text to XL, and we can have some space here and b-6 about, and then below here we should have some random information about you or your company or the page or whatever. It's not really anything to do with this tutorial, but as you can see we have the h1, which means that we tell the search engines that the name of this page is about. Okay, so I hope that was okay to follow along so far. Now I want to set the title up in the browser here. As you can see here, it's just a URL. It can't be like that. So up here, below these meta tags, for example, we can set title and then hi Django. So if I refresh now, it says hi Django, but it also says hi Django on the front page. So I want to make it possible to dynamically insert the page name here. So at the beginning here, I want to add one more block. So block title and block, and add a space and then a pipe and a space. So if I save now, it will say space pipe space hi Django. But if I now just copy this, go to the about page, and then in here I say about, refresh, it will now say about, and Django will understand that we are on an about page, on a page called hi Django. On the front page we don't have this yet, so we can set it here as well. For example, welcome to, or learn Django. Refresh, and you can see it there as well. Nice. Okay, so that is how the title tag is working. So we can also put dynamic information in here, which we will do in the blog, and that is now the next step. So I want to set up the database models for the blog, which will be very easy or simple for this example. So class post models.model title, which is the title of the blog post. Set the models.char field, max length can be 255. We want the intro, and the intro is the text that we are going to show here. Models.text field, and a body, which is the one we have on the detail page, of course. Models.text field, and I want a slug field here, so slug models.slug field. So this will then be based on the title. And I want an image field, which is this one, of course. So this can be in here, image, models.image field. This should be uploaded to a folder called images, which is then inside automatically in the media folder. I think this is correct. I often do a mistake here, but we will test it very soon. And then, yes, we don't need anything more here. So let's save this now and run the migrations. As you can see here, I can't use the image field because I haven't installed Pillow yet. So I can do that first. Pip install Pillow. So Pillow is just a Python library for handling images, and we can do resizing and similar. And then I can say Python manage.py make migrations, and Python manage.py migrate. Great. So if I run the server again now, the warning is now gone. Before we start adding data, we need to create a super admin, so we can log in the admin interface. Python manage.py create super user, username admin at django.com, and then my password, like that. So now I can run the server, go back to the browser, copy this, and go to /admin and log in with the user I just created. Okay, so the post model isn't appearing here because we haven't registered it with the admin interface. So if I go to blog/admin.py, I can begin by importing the model we just created from .models import post, and then just admin.site.register post. If I refresh now, I have it here. Nice. Okay, so let's add one post number one, choose the image. Let's just take the one from the project, unsplash, open. This is the intro text, blah blah blah. And then we also have a body, like that. So let's save this. Let's create one more, number 2, number 2. And then we can use, yeah, as you can see here now, the image was automatically uploaded, and since there was an image with the same name, Django added a unique ID at the end here, so that we could have multiple images in the same folder. So I just want to upload a different picture, and then introduction text, and the same down here. So if I save now, we have 2 posts in the database. So let's get them and show them on the front page here instead of these static ones. So in core views.py, we first need to import the model here as well. So from blog.models import post equals post.objects.all, and add them to a dictionary here, posts posts, like that. Okay, so then it should be okay, no errors. So I can actually just remove 4 of these so that we have just one article here. And now we create a loop for post in posts and block. Now we can show the title dynamically. So post.title, save, go back and refresh. Oops, sorry, and 4 of course, because I'm ending this. So post number 1, number 2, haha. I want to switch this since this is a newer post and should be here. So in the models here we can say class meta ordering equals and then minus ID. So in descending order the ID. Great. Okay, so let's show the intro, correct image and the rest. So here we say post.intro and then the image post.image.url. I think I need that one. Refresh. Yes, so now I have that image there, and here you use this one still. Great. So then we just need to fix the read more button. So I have to come back to that because I haven't created the detail page yet. Let's do that now. So in the blog app, going to views.py, begin by importing the model from .models, import post def detail, pass in the request parameter, but I also want to pass in the slug parameter because here we want to make it possible to get a blog post based on the slug or the address that we are on. So post equals post.objects.get, where slug equals slug, return, render, request, pass in blog/detail.html, and then post, and save. So now the view is more or less okay. Let's create a URLs file here. urls.py from Django.urls import path, and then we want to import the views from import views, set up the app name to be blog, and then the URL patterns. And here we expect a slug with the name slug slash. So this is what type of parameter we are expecting, and then this is the name, and this name should be or have to be the same as this one. And when this is a match, we say views.detail name detail and save. So last but not least, we just need to import this into the main URLs file. So here we can say path, and also here when it's empty we want to use the include tag as a blog.urls. Great. So then we can try to update this one to see if it is working. URL blog : detail, and then we just pass in post.slug and save. So refresh, there are no errors. Let's try to click one of these. Then you can see here that the URL changed to this one, and it got into here to the detail view, but the template does not exist. So let's make a copy of the about page and just save this as detail.html, but in the correct folder, of course. Blog, create a new folder, templates, and then in there blog, and then in there the detail.html. So templates, blog, detail. Let's refresh. It still doesn't work. Templates. Is it not in the correct? Why is that not working? Blog.detail. You have to start the server sometime. Yes, that was working. Nice. So let's replace this static information with the correct one. So post.title, and then in here post.intro, and we can say font bold, and then we show the body at the bottom here, post.body. Nice. So now we have all of this information coming from the database from this post here. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. So we need to show the image as well on the top. So img src, and then we can say we can just copy this like that. Copy this one, and we can also add empty-6 so I have some space up to this one. Nice. So now I have a very simple blog post detail page. As you can see here, we still have the about there. That also needs to be fixed. So here we can say post.title and refresh. So now I have this instead. So if I go to the other blog post, read more, then you can see the number 2, haha, and also down here is the correct information. Nice. So a little problem now is that if you have a screen reader or this image is missing, you can't see what's there. So let's just try to fake that for now by just adding a letter at the beginning. Then you can see this instead. What we can do then is add something called alt tag for alternative. So you can, for example, just say post.title, or if you want to make this a little bit more advanced, for example here, you can have a image alt text and then show that instead of the title. This is more search engine optimized. So if I save now, refresh, you'll see this text at least. So then you maybe get a little bit understanding of what the image was supposed to be. Plus, people with reading disabilities can use the screen reader to get this information read to them. So this also needs to be done on the detail page, and every time you use the image you need to use the alt tag. So then I can just remove this F so it's working again. And since we are talking about images, a little tip here is to rename the images to good names. So for example, instead of calling the image Unsplash, you can say picture of mountains in sunset, for example. The positive thing with this is that now Google will index this image name from your page. So if people go to Google Images and search for picture of mountains, they can get up your page as well, which will lead to more traffic to your page. So that's why it's very important to use good image name as well, and not just Unsplash, download, or img321 and typical default image names. So describe what's inside the image. Another very important thing to think about when it comes to SEO is the number of words per page. As you can see here, if I just copy all of the text on this page and go to Google and search for word counter, start typing. Oh god, so much ads. Okay, so here if I scroll, wow, this was very shitty. Let's try this one, wordcounter.net. Okay, so you can see here that I have 25 words, and that is very little information to make Google understand what your page is about. I would not recommend that you have a page with less than 300 to 500 words on it, because that makes it very much easier for Django to know what you are talking about. Plus, for example, on the About page here, I should probably try to mention Django and learn multiple times so that Django knows that this page is about learning Django. But you don't want to use the word Django or learn too many times, because Google might see that as keyword stuffing, so you can get punished and not indexed at all. So you need to find a good balance. Okay, so now we have a little bit of basic SEO. Let's try to fix the rest of the meta tags. So we have meta tags for adding description to the page. This is what you often see in search results. For example, if I search Django, then you can see here, this is probably a part of the meta description, or if Google finds text on your page which they think is better, they will use it, but it's always good to set the meta description. So if we go back to base.html, we can add one more block here, block meta, and block, and then on the index page we say block meta and block. And then you have a tag called meta name description, and then in here, for example, you can just use the text that you already have on your page, or a description of your page. So it doesn't need to be too long, it's just enough to tell Google what this page is about. So very short summary. So let's have this on the other pages as well. On the About page, here you can learn about Django and similar blah blah blah. And also on the detail page for the blog we can have this, but here we can actually pass in the intro text into this one. So if I save now, go back and into the blog here. Let's go, for example, into the post number 1, and if I now open up the view page source, you'll see that you have the meta description there. Nice. So we have a few more of these tags that we like to include every time we build a page. So for example, we have the keywords, and this is then keywords that we want to tell Google we are having on this page, and it's almost like hashtags. So here you can say learn Django, Python, and tutorial. So they don't necessarily do anything for the ranking, but it's easier for Google at least to understand your page. Maybe you want to have a separate for the About page. So then you just paste it there. And then you say learn Django, About page, or whatever. At least it's important to have these as well. And then to make the page easier, or at least better, to share in social medias, we have a few separate OG tags for that as well. So on the detail page, I already prepped this. So here we have the OG title. That is the title which will show on Facebook and similar when you share this page. So the page name should be the post title. Now we can use the pipe, for example, and just say hi Django at the end there. And then we want to reference the image, and then you need to use the full URL for the image on your page. If not, Facebook and similar will not find it. /media /images, or you can just copy this, and most likely this will be enough. And then you need to set a specific width and height for each of the images. Maybe you have a specific type of image you use, or you can use a pillow to find the width and height and set them here dynamically. But you need all these three to make it possible to share an image. And then to have the full URL to your blog, for example domainname.com/theslug, but we can make this dynamic as well, so post.slug, and the site name, which maybe should just be Hi Django at Code with Stein, and then you have the description, which will be also inside the sharing card. So if I save now, go back here and refresh, you'll see all of these here. So now both Google and also Facebook, Twitter and similar will follow this information. Okay, so now that we have done some very basic on-site SEO, we can move along to create a robots file. A robots file is a file containing information about which page the robots are allowed to index. For example, code with stein.com/robots.txt. You can see here that all user agents are not allowed to index this. They will probably still visit it and similar, but this will not show in the search results and similar. So here you can add other, for example, login page and similar. You usually don't want to have these inside the search results, only pages that are relevant to the users. So then we need to make it possible to create this file and also show it correctly. So let's Google how to do this. Django robots.txt file. How to add robots. Yes, we can check this one. Blah 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 blah. Here you can see a little bit more about what they have done here. For example, you can set specific for one bot, not allowed to go to the front page and similar. So then we just go to the URLs file, and then you can see here we need to import this function. So on the URLs main file, we import from django.views.generic.base, we import something called a template view, which makes it easy or possible to show a text file raw. And then we can set this here on the top, for example, robots.txt. Don't think we need anything more now. Template view.sview. And then here we specify what template name to use, which is robots.txt. And we also need to set the content type here to text/plain. I think that is it. Yes, that's everything we need here. So now you might wonder where we should put this robots.txt file. Let's first of all just open it up here. Then you can see here, template does not exist. So where did Django try to find this folder? It tried to look in here, but that's not where we want it. You can have it multiple places. Some people create a separate templates folder for this, but for me, I think it's okay to just have it in the core folder. So create it here, robots.txt. Then we can copy the content, which is just user agent star, and which we want to disallow. And the only page that I want to disallow is admin, which is the Django admin. So if I now refresh, it did not work. That might be because I need to specify core/robots.txt, and there it is. So now Django, the user agent bots know where to go and where not to go. Then I also need to create something called a sitemap. So if I go to codestan.com/sitemap.xml, then you will see a list of pages that are on my page. For example, you have the front page, you have the contact page, about, sponsors, pricing, and then more dynamic pages down here. So Django actually has a built-in functionality for generating this. So if I just go to Google and say Django Sitemaps, then you have something called the Sitemap framework. I think if I go to the settings file, settings, and in here it's not included default. So that's something we need to do. So we have under here, under installation, we can copy this and add it there at the end and save. Maybe need to run the migrate, not sure. Your models, make migrations, migrate. Okay, no, I didn't have to do anything there. That's okay. Make sure you've installed the sites framework. That's not sure if that's actually necessary. Let's just go back and try to continue. So this is not how I typically do this. Let's try to go to solve gadgets, because I think I have done it here as well. Yes, I have a sitemaps.py file, so we can create that. So inside the main folder, hi Django, we create a new file, sitemaps.xml. Sorry, this should be a Python file. py. And then we can begin by importing this one from django.contrib.sitemaps, import sitemap, and a shortcut called reverse, which makes it easy to find the URL for a blog post. Then we can also import the blog model, so from blog.models import post. And then we can begin with something called the static view sitemap. This is the front page and the about page, which isn't in a database. That's why I just call it static view. And then the items that we want to have listed out there. This is a default function, so we need to use this. Return, create a list, and then I think I can core index and core : about. Save. Sorry, I also need to include this location so that this functionality can automatically find the correct URL. So def location, pass in self, since this is a class, and then the item, and then we use the reverse function for finding the URL. Okay, before I continue with the rest there, we can go into urls.py and set up everything we need here. So as you can see here, we can first begin by importing the sitemap we just created from .sitemaps, which is this file, import static view sitemap, which is this class here. And then we need to set up which sitemaps we want to use. So this is then a dictionary, static, pass in this one, like that. And then I think the last step now is to just import this down here. Oops. That did not go as planned. There, I think it worked. Okay, so let's paste this below there. So sitemap.xml. Then I want to use this variable there. No, that is not correct. Sorry, it should be sitemap. I need to import this very soon. And then I set up the dictionary and include this one and which name to use here. So if I now scroll to the top here, I guess there is one more function I need to import. Save. So let's try to go here now, refresh, no errors, go to sitemap.xml. And you can see here the front page and the about page, and then Django automatically add this for you. So if you deploy this to a live server with the real domain name, Django will fix this for you. Okay, so then we can create the class post view sitemap, def items self, and then I just need to check here again. So here I just give a list of all of the posts. So return post.objects.all, and I do not need this one here. At least it doesn't look like I need it, so we can save this. Go back to URLs and import the post view sitemap. Here, create one more inside the dictionary, post view sitemap, save, go back and refresh. There. No, post. Okay, so as you can see here, I don't have a function called get absolute URL. And I can create this in the models.py file for the blog. Def get absolute URL, return, pass in the self parameter, and just a return self.slug. I don't think I need anything more. Yes, you can see here that I'm missing the 2 slashes. So let's create a formatted string like that. Nice. So now we have this as well. Nice. And that was it for this tutorial. Now you should have learned how to do basic on-site SEOs, how to set up a robots file, how to include or set up a sitemap file, and similar. Next step now is to submit this to Google Search Console and start doing SEOs outside of your page. For example, try to create backlinks, or you can just create landing pages on your page to create more content so that it's even easier for Google to find you. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you was able to follow along. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I will answer as soon as I can. See you in the next video.